"Yeah, it did," James replied, his voice firm. "But we can't let this ruin our night. We'll find another place." As they walked down the street, Mia felt a mix of anger and sadness. They had come to celebrate their love, but instead they were faced with hate. They knew they had to stand up against this kind of discrimination. With every step, Maya felt more determined to do something about it. Little did they know that this was only the beginning of their fight against the prejudice that plagued society. They were ready to make their voices heard and show that love would always triumph over hate. The aftermath. The next day, Mia and James woke up with heavy hearts. The incident at the restaurant lingered in their minds, casting a shadow over their plans. They had thought that dinner would be a celebration of their love, but it had turned into a painful reminder of the world's unfairness. As they sipped their morning coffee, Maya felt the need to talk about what happened. "I can't believe we were treated that way. It's like we were in some kind of bad movie," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. James nodded, his brow furrowed. "It's not just us. This happens to so many people every day. It's frustrating, and it makes me angry." Mia took a deep breath, trying to shake off the negative feelings. "We can't let this ruin our relationship or our lives. We have to do something," she replied, determination shining in her eyes. "What do you mean?" James asked, intrigued. Mia sat back in her chair, considering her words carefully. "Maybe we can share our story. We could post about it on social media or talk to a local news outlet. If we can raise awareness, maybe it will help someone else." James thought for a moment. "That could work, but we have to be careful. We don't know how people will react." Mia nodded. "I know, but we can't stay silent. This has to change, and maybe we can be part of that change." As they discussed their plan, a sense of hope began to replace the anger they had felt the day before. They decided to take action, not just for themselves, but for others who had experienced similar injustices. That afternoon, they sat down together and crafted a post detailing their experience at the restaurant. They used simple language to explain what happened, emphasizing that discrimination should not be tolerated. When they finished, they shared the post on their social media accounts and felt a rush of nerves. Within hours, their friends and family began to comment, expressing their support and disbelief. The post quickly gained traction, with people sharing it beyond their immediate circle. Some shared their own stories of discrimination, while others offered encouragement. "Look at this," Mia exclaimed as she scrolled through the comments. "People are responding. This is amazing." James smiled, feeling a sense of pride in what they had started. "We're not alone in this. So many people are ready to stand with us." As the days went by, the story continued to spread. Local news outlets picked it up, and soon, Mia and James found themselves being interviewed. They shared their experience on television, their voices shaking but strong. They wanted everyone to know that discrimination still existed and that it was time to take a stand against it. During one interview, the host asked, "What do you hope to achieve by sharing your story?" Mia took a deep breath, her eyes fierce with passion. "We want to show that love and respect should always come first, regardless of race. It's important for everyone to feel safe and welcomed, especially in places meant for celebration." James added, "We believe that by speaking out, we can encourage others to do the same. We want to be part of the solution, not just passive observers." Their words resonated with viewers, and support flooded in from all directions. People began to rally around them, sharing their own experiences and demanding change. The hashtag they created, #LoveOverHate, began to trend on social media, uniting voices across the country. Amidst the growing attention, Mr. Harris, the restaurant owner, issued a statement. In it, he apologized for his actions, claiming it was a misunderstanding. He promised to attend sensitivity training and to create a more inclusive environment in his restaurant. But Mia and James were not satisfied. They knew that words were not enough. Real change required action. We should organize a peaceful protest outside his restaurant, Mia suggested one evening as they watched the news. We can gather people who support our cause. It's time to show him that discrimination won't be tolerated. James agreed, his heart racing with excitement. Let's do it. We'll make posters and spread the word. This is our chance to make a real difference. They started planning, reaching out to their followers and friends to join them in their protest. They organized a date, and within a week, the event was set. The night before, Mia and James stayed up late making colorful signs that read, "No hate in our state," and "Love is stronger than hate." The day of the protest dawned bright and sunny. Mia and James arrived at the restaurant early, filled with a mix of nerves and excitement. As people began to gather, they felt a sense of unity. They were not alone in this fight. Mia looked around at the crowd, filled with supporters of all ages and backgrounds. "This is amazing," she said to James, her heart swelling with pride. As they started chanting and holding their signs high, Mia felt a surge of hope. They were making their voices heard. This was just the beginning of their journey, and they were ready to stand up against hate together, showing that love could shine through even the darkest moments. Little did they know, their actions would inspire many others to join the fight for equality and acceptance, turning their painful experience into a catalyst for change. The protest. The day of the protest was filled with energy and determination. Mia and James stood at the forefront of the crowd, feeling the weight of their mission. They were not just fighting for themselves. They were standing up for anyone who had ever faced discrimination. As more people arrived, the group grew larger. Friends, family, and even strangers joined in, holding signs with powerful messages of love and acceptance. Mia felt a sense of belonging, surrounded by people who believed in the same cause. The atmosphere buzzed with hope, and she couldn't help but smile at the solidarity they were creating. James took a deep breath, scanning the crowd. "Look at everyone. This is incredible," he exclaimed, his heart racing with excitement. Mia nodded, her eyes shining with pride. "We're making a difference. This is what it's all about." As the protest kicked off, they began chanting slogans like, "Love is stronger than hate," and "No more discrimination." The words echoed through the streets, catching the attention of passers-by. People stopped to listen, some even joining in with their own signs. It was a moment of unity, a testament to the strength of their community. In the midst of the protest, Mia noticed a news crew setting up nearby. Her heart raced. This was an opportunity to share their message with an even wider audience. "James, let's try to get interviewed," she said, pointing to the cameras. James agreed, and they made their way over to the reporters. When the cameras were rolling, Mia spoke passionately about their experience at the restaurant. "We're here today to say that discrimination has no place in our community," she declared. "Everyone deserves to feel welcome and safe, regardless of their race." James stood beside her, adding, "We want people to understand that we are more alike than different. Love should unite us, not divide us." Their heartfelt words resonated with the audience, both in person and on screen. The news crew captured the spirit of the protest, highlighting the importance of standing up against hate. As the day progressed, more people joined the protest, amplifying their message. The energy was contagious, and Mia and James felt a renewed sense of purpose. They handed out flyers, encouraging others to share their stories and become advocates for change. Amidst the chants and laughter, Mia spotted a familiar face in the crowd. It was her old friend, Sarah, who had faced her own struggles with discrimination. Mia ran over to her, excitement bubbling in her chest. "Sarah, I'm so glad you're here." Sarah hugged Mia tightly. "I wouldn't miss it for the world. This is amazing." The two friends caught up as they joined the group, sharing stories of their experiences and the impact of the protest. It felt good to connect with someone who understood the challenges they faced. As the sun began to set, the protest reached its climax. Mia and James took the stage, ready to address the crowd one last time. Thank you all for being here today. Maya started, her voice strong and clear. Your support means everything. Together, we can create a world where love triumphs over hate. James continued, let's keep this momentum going. We can't stop here. We must advocate for change every day, not just today. The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices echoing through the streets. Maya felt a sense of hope wash over her. They were making a difference, and it felt powerful. As the protest ended, Mia and James gathered their things, feeling exhausted but fulfilled. They had united their community, sparked important conversations, and inspired others to join the fight against discrimination. But they knew their journey was far from over. As they walked home hand in hand, they discussed their next steps. We should plan more events, Maya suggested, her mind racing with ideas. Maybe workshops to educate people about racism and discrimination. James nodded, his excitement matching hers. That's a great idea. We can partner with local organizations to reach more people. They continued brainstorming, fueled by the energy of the protest. Their passion for change ignited a fire within them, and they felt empowered to keep pushing for justice and equality. Later that evening, as they relaxed at home, Mia couldn't help but reflect on the day. I never thought we could make such an impact, she said, her voice filled with emotion. James smiled, wrapping his arm around her. We did this together. We showed people that love is stronger than hate, and that's just the beginning. Their determination grew stronger as they planned their next moves. They were no longer just a couple facing discrimination. They were now advocates for change. The events of the past few days had transformed their lives, and they were ready to take on whatever came next. Little did they know, their story would continue to inspire others, sparking a movement that would ripple through their community and beyond. They had turned their painful experience into a powerful catalyst for change, proving that even in the face of adversity, love and unity could prevail. The unexpected visitor. A few days after the protest, Mia and James were still riding the high of their successful event. They had received positive feedback from the community and local news outlets, and their story was beginning to reach people far beyond their neighborhood. But despite the excitement, there was an underlying tension. They knew the restaurant owner might retaliate. One quiet afternoon, as Mia was preparing dinner, there was a sudden knock at the door. She exchanged a curious glance with James, who was sitting on the couch scrolling through social media. Who could that be? Mia wondered aloud, wiping her hands on a towel. James shrugged, standing up. Let's find out. When he opened the door, a tall man in a suit stood on the porch, a serious expression on his face. Hello, I'm Detective Harris. I'm here to speak with Mia and James, he said, his tone professional. Mia's heart raced. That's us. What's this about? The detective stepped inside, and they all settled in the living room. I'm investigating a situation regarding the protest you held against the restaurant, he explained, looking from Mia to James. I need to ask you a few questions about your experience there. James frowned, exchanging a glance with Mia. Is this about the restaurant owner? He asked, concern creeping into his voice. Detective Harris nodded. Yes, we've received some complaints regarding the owner's conduct and possible discrimination. Your protest caught our attention, and we want to understand more about what happened. Mia took a deep breath, recalling the events that led to the protest. We went to the restaurant for dinner, and the owner kicked us out simply because we're black. He made racist remarks and wouldn't listen to us at all. Detective Harris listened intently, taking notes. Did you have any previous encounters with him or the restaurant? Mia shook her head. No, it was our first time there. We just wanted to enjoy a nice meal. The detective nodded, his brow furrowing as he processed the information. I see. We've had multiple complaints about this restaurant. You're not the only ones who faced discrimination there. James leaned forward, eager to contribute. We held a protest to raise awareness about his behavior. We want people to know that this kind of treatment is not acceptable. Detective Harris appreciated their dedication. "Thank you for sharing this information. I'll be looking into the matter further. You may have helped us uncover a larger issue." Mia felt a mix of relief and anxiety. "Will anything happen to the owner?" The detective paused before responding. "It's hard to say at this point. We need to gather more evidence, but your testimony is valuable, and it might encourage others to come forward." Just then, a loud commotion erupted outside. Curious, they all walked to the window and peered out. A small crowd had gathered in front of their house, holding signs that read, "No place for hate," and "Justice for Mia and James." James grinned, feeling a swell of pride. "Look at that. They're here for us." Mia couldn't believe her eyes. The community they had rallied together was now supporting them once again. "This is amazing," she said, her heart racing with excitement. Detective Harris turned to them, a hint of a smile on his face. "It seems you've created quite a movement. This is powerful." Feeling empowered by the support outside, Mia and James made their way to the front porch. They waved at the crowd, their hearts full of gratitude. "Thank you for standing with us," James shouted, and the crowd cheered back, their voices ringing with encouragement. Mia took a moment to speak. "We will not back down. We will continue to fight against discrimination. Thank you for your support." The crowd erupted into applause, and the energy was electric. It was a powerful reminder of why they had started this journey. They were not alone. They had a community behind them. After spending some time greeting supporters, Mia turned to Detective Harris. "Thank you for coming here today. We want to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else." Detective Harris nodded, appreciating their resolve. "I'll keep you updated on any developments. Your courage is inspiring." As the detective left, Mia and James returned to the living room, still buzzing from the unexpected support. "I can't believe this is happening," Mia said, shaking her head in disbelief. James smiled at her. "You did this, Mia. You stood up and spoke out. You inspired others to join in." Feeling a renewed sense of purpose, they sat down together. "We need to plan our next steps," Mia suggested, pulling out a notebook. "Maybe we can organize another event to keep the momentum going." James agreed. "We can collaborate with local organizations and get more people involved. Let's educate the community about discrimination and how to fight against it." Mia wrote down their ideas, her heart racing with excitement. They had transformed their painful experience into a rallying point for change. The unexpected visit from Detective Harris and the support from the community strengthened their resolve to keep fighting against hate. As they brainstormed, Mia realized they had become more than just victims of discrimination. They were now advocates for change, determined to create a better future for everyone. And so their journey continued, fueled by love, unity, and the unwavering support of their community. They knew they were making a difference, and that gave them hope for what lay ahead. A turning point. The days following the unexpected support from the community were a whirlwind of activity for Mia and James. Their phones buzzed constantly with messages from friends, family, and even strangers offering support. News outlets began reaching out, wanting to hear their story and share it with a broader audience. Mia felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. They had sparked something powerful, but with it came responsibility. They were not just fighting for themselves anymore. They were fighting for everyone who faced discrimination. One afternoon, as they sat in their living room planning their next community event, Mia looked at James with determination in her eyes. "We need to take this further. We can't just hold one protest and stop there. We need a campaign." James nodded, his expression serious. "What do you have in mind?" "I want to create a series of events where we can educate people about discrimination, its effects, and how to stand up against it. We could invite speakers, hold workshops, and share stories." "That sounds amazing," James exclaimed. "We could reach so many people that way." Mia grabbed her notebook and started jotting down ideas. "We can partner with local schools and organizations. This needs to be a community effort. We can show people that they have the power to make a change. James leaned back, impressed. You're really passionate about this. It's inspiring. Mia smiled. I've seen how much support we have. It's not just about us anymore. It's about everyone who feels marginalized. We need to make sure their voices are heard. As they brainstormed, James's phone buzzed with a notification. He picked it up, glancing at the screen. Oh wow, the restaurant owner has released a statement. Mia's heart raced. What does it say? James read aloud, his voice steady. The owner claims that he is misunderstood and that his comments were taken out of context. He says he welcomes everyone and is committed to addressing any issues in his restaurant. Mia scoffed. That's ridiculous. He's only saying that because of the backlash. He doesn't really care about change. James nodded in agreement. It's just damage control. We need to show people that words alone aren't enough. Actions speak louder. Mia's mind was racing. This could be a great opportunity for us. What if we organized a public meeting and invited him to come? We could confront him about his behavior and demand real accountability. James raised an eyebrow, intrigued. That's bold. But it might be just what we need to keep the pressure on him. Exactly, Maya replied, her excitement growing. We can invite the community to join us. This isn't just about us anymore. It's about holding him accountable and ensuring this doesn't happen again. They decided to set a date for the meeting and started crafting a message to invite the community. Maya felt a surge of determination. They were taking control of the narrative, and they would not back down. As the day of the public meeting approached, Mia and James worked tirelessly to spread the word. They used social media, flyers, and word of mouth to invite as many people as possible. They wanted a strong turnout to show the restaurant owner that the community would not tolerate discrimination. On the day of the meeting, the atmosphere was electric. Mia stood at the front of the community center, looking out at the sea of faces. The room was packed, filled with supporters who believed in their cause. She felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. This was the community coming together to fight against hate. Thank you all for being here today. Mia began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. We are here to stand up against discrimination and demand change. We have the right to be treated with respect, and we will not accept anything less. The crowd erupted in applause, and Mia's heart swelled with pride. She looked to James, who gave her an encouraging nod. Today, we are not just fighting for ourselves, but for everyone who has faced discrimination. We need to hold those in power accountable for their actions, she continued. We've invited the restaurant owner to join us so he can hear directly from the community about the impact of his words and actions. As she spoke, the crowd buzzed with energy. People were nodding, clapping, and showing their support. Maya felt empowered, knowing they were all in this together. Soon, the restaurant owner arrived, looking uncomfortable but determined. He stood at the back of the room, arms crossed, as Mia welcomed him to the front. Thank you for joining us, she said, her voice firm. We want to hear your side of the story and understand why you think your actions were acceptable. The owner cleared his throat, clearly taken aback by the number of people present. I just want to clarify that I never meant to offend anyone. My comments were taken out of context. Mia stepped forward, her heart pounding. But your words have consequences. You made people feel unwelcome and hurt. It's important to acknowledge that. The room fell silent, all eyes on the owner. He shifted uncomfortably, realizing the gravity of the situation. Mia took a deep breath. This is your chance to take responsibility and show the community that you are willing to change. Words are not enough. We need actions. As the owner stammered, trying to find the right words, the crowd murmured, urging him to be honest. In that moment, Maya realized that they were not just fighting for themselves. They were creating a movement. They were empowering others to stand up against discrimination and demand respect. As the discussion continued, Maya felt a renewed sense of hope. They had started a conversation that was long overdue, and no matter the outcome, they were making a difference. This was just the beginning of their journey, and they would continue to fight for what was right, together. Confronting the truth. The public meeting had opened the floodgates of emotions, and Maya felt a sense of urgency in the air. The crowd was engaged, and the restaurant owner stood before them, a mix of unease and determination on his face. The moment felt pivotal, and Mia knew they needed to dig deeper. As the owner began to speak, Mia glanced around the room. Faces filled with anticipation and concern were watching him closely. She could sense the collective breath being held as he struggled to articulate his thoughts. "I understand that my comments have hurt people," he said finally, his voice wavering. "But I thought I was just trying to run a business, and I didn't mean to offend anyone." Mia stepped forward, her heart racing. "But you have to understand that your words have power. As a business owner, your actions and comments can either uplift or harm a community. We need to hear you take responsibility." There was a murmur of agreement from the crowd, and the owner looked taken aback. This was not going as he had anticipated. He glanced at the audience, seeing the faces of those he had wronged, and for the first time, the reality of his actions began to sink in. I'm sorry," he stuttered. "I didn't think about how my words could affect others. I want to do better, but I didn't realize the impact I was having." Mia seized the moment. "That's a start, but we need more than just words. We want to see change. We want you to commit to creating a welcoming environment for everyone. This means training your staff, educating yourself, and making real changes in how you run your restaurant." The room buzzed with energy as people began to share their own experiences with discrimination. One by one, community members stood up, recounting moments of being mistreated or dismissed. Each story added weight to the atmosphere, making it clear that this issue affected many. "I went to your restaurant with my family, and we felt uncomfortable the entire time," said a woman with tears in her eyes. "We left without even finishing our meal. It hurt." Another man spoke up. "I've been a loyal customer for years, but I can't support a place that doesn't value diversity. Your comments made me question if I truly belong there." As the stories poured out, Mia could see the restaurant owner grappling with the weight of his actions. It was becoming evident that he had underestimated the strength of the community and the consequences of his words. Feeling a shift in the energy, Mia addressed the owner again. "This is your chance to make a real difference. You can use your platform to promote inclusivity. How about holding events that celebrate diversity? Invite people from different backgrounds to share their stories." The owner nodded slowly, processing her words. "I never thought about that. I want to change, but I also need guidance." Mia smiled, sensing an opening. "We can help you. We want to work together to ensure this never happens again. Let's start a dialogue, create programs that educate your staff, and bring the community together." The crowd erupted into applause, filled with hope and possibility. For the first time, it felt like they were not just demanding change. They were offering a chance for it. As the meeting continued, Maya felt a swell of pride. The atmosphere had transformed from one of tension to one of collaboration. It was a reminder that change could come from confronting uncomfortable truths and working together toward solutions. After the meeting, Mia and James gathered with community members to discuss the next steps. "We have a real opportunity here," James said, his eyes shining with excitement. "We can be a part of this change." "Absolutely," Mia agreed. "Let's create a plan to follow up with the restaurant owner. We need to hold him accountable and ensure he follows through on his promises." In the following days, they organized a series of workshops aimed at fostering inclusivity and understanding. The restaurant owner committed to attending these sessions and promised to involve his staff in the process. The community rallied behind the initiative, eager to be part of the change. Flyers went up in local businesses, and social media buzzed with excitement. Maya and James couldn't believe how quickly things were moving. As they prepared for the first workshop, Maya felt a sense of anticipation. This was more than just a project. It was a movement, a chance to shift the narrative around discrimination and build a stronger, more inclusive community. On the day of the first workshop, the room was filled with people eager to learn and share. Maya stood at the front, heart pounding, as she welcomed everyone. "Thank you all for being here. This is a chance for us to come together, understand our differences, and learn how to support one another." The restaurant owner took a seat among the participants, ready to listen and engage. As the workshop progressed, Maya felt hope blossoming. They were making strides toward change, and the community was united in their efforts. By the end of the workshop, there was a renewed sense of purpose in the room. People exchanged contact information, promising to stay connected and continue the conversation. Maya realized that they had sparked something powerful, a movement that could inspire change far beyond their small community. As they wrapped up, Maya looked at James and smiled. "We did this together. This is just the beginning." James nodded, pride shining in his eyes. "We can change the world, one step at a time." With that thought, Maya felt a sense of hope for the future. They had faced challenges head-on and turned them into opportunities for growth. Together, they were creating a community that celebrated diversity and stood against discrimination. And they were just getting started. A new beginning. As weeks passed, the workshops continued to flourish. The restaurant owner, now an active participant in the community's quest for change, had transformed his approach. He embraced the feedback from attendees and worked closely with Mia and James to implement policies that would foster inclusivity and respect within his restaurant. The first major event was approaching, a community celebration designed to honor diversity and bring people together. Maya felt a buzz of excitement in the air. They had invited local musicians, artists, and speakers to share their stories, showcasing the beauty of the community's rich cultural tapestry. On the day of the celebration, the park was alive with color and energy. Booths lined the walkway, each representing different cultures, cuisines, and art forms. The restaurant owner had set up a booth showcasing traditional dishes from various cultures, symbolizing his commitment to change. Mia and James walked through the crowd, soaking in the atmosphere. They could see smiles on people's faces, hear laughter, and feel the warmth of connection. It was everything they had hoped for and more. "Look at how many people showed up," James said, beaming. "This is incredible." Mia nodded, her heart swelling with pride. "This is what community looks like. We've come together to celebrate our differences and support one another." As the festivities continued, Maya spotted the restaurant owner chatting with attendees. He seemed more relaxed, laughing and engaging in meaningful conversations. It was clear that he had begun to understand the importance of listening to the community he once marginalized. Just then, a young girl approached Mia. "Are you the one who helped the restaurant owner?" she asked, her eyes wide with admiration. Mia smiled. "I was part of the team that worked on it, yes, but it was a community effort. Everyone played a role in making this happen." The girl nodded, her face serious. "I want to help too. Can I be part of the next workshop?" "Of course," Maya replied, her heart warming at the girl's eagerness. "We always welcome new voices and ideas." The girl grinned and ran off to join her friends, leaving Maya feeling inspired. This was the impact they had made, encouraging the younger generation to speak out and take part in the movement for change. As the sun began to set, the atmosphere shifted to a more reflective tone. The stage was set for the closing ceremony, where community leaders and attendees would share their thoughts on the day's events. Maya stood at the front, ready to address the crowd. She felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. This was a pivotal moment, and she wanted to convey the importance of their journey together. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, her voice steady. "This celebration is not just about food, music, or art. It's about coming together as a community. It's about understanding one another, supporting each other, and standing against discrimination in all its forms." The crowd erupted in applause, and Maya felt a surge of energy. "When we stand together, we create a force that cannot be ignored." We have shown that change is possible, and it starts with us." As she spoke, she noticed the restaurant owner standing off to the side, nodding in agreement. It was a powerful moment, symbolizing the transformation he had undergone and the commitment he had made to the community. "Let this be a reminder that we can overcome any obstacle when we work together," Mia continued. "Let's continue to support one another, celebrate our differences, and build a future where everyone feels welcome and valued." As she concluded her speech, the crowd erupted into cheers, and Maya felt tears of joy welling in her eyes. This was a victory, a new beginning for their community. After the ceremony, people began to mingle, sharing stories and connecting with one another. The restaurant owner approached Mia, his expression sincere. "I want to thank you," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You've opened my eyes in ways I never thought possible. I'm committed to making my restaurant a place where everyone feels safe and welcomed." Mia smiled warmly. "Thank you for being open to change. It takes courage to admit mistakes and work towards improvement." As the evening drew to a close, Maya looked around at the community she loved. Friends and families were enjoying each other's company, laughter echoed, and the spirit of unity filled the air. This was just the beginning of a new chapter, one where empathy and understanding would pave the way for a brighter future. Maya realized that the journey wasn't just about one restaurant or one owner. It was about the collective strength of the community. They had all learned valuable lessons and had come together to create a safer, more inclusive space for everyone. With a heart full of hope, Mia turned to James. "We did it. Together, we've created something beautiful." James grinned, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "And this is only the start. Imagine what more we can achieve." Mia nodded, inspired by the possibilities that lay ahead. They would continue to stand up against discrimination, support each other, and create change, one step at a time. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Maya felt a sense of peace. Together, they were building a better world, and she knew that their efforts would resonate for generations to come.